Man, being a Detroit Lions fan right now is honestly a roller coaster. One minute, you feel like this team is building something special, and the next minute, you're sitting there staring at your phone thinking, what just happened? And today is one of those days where a lot is happening around this team. We've got two big Lions stories that every fan needs to hear about right now. One of them is about a situation that has the fan base seriously nervous, and the other one involves several moves the team just made that could actually change how this roster looks heading into the season. Some of it is exciting. Some of it is confusing, and some of it might have a much bigger impact on this team than people realize. So today we are going to break down both of these Lions stories, and trust me, there is a lot to talk about. And before we get into it, if you are a real Lions fan and you enjoy talking about Detroit football with other fans, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. This channel, Lions Nation Report, is brand new, and the goal right now is to reach our first 2,000 subscribers. So if you want to help a new Lions community grow, I would really appreciate it. Alright, let's start with the first story. So the first thing we need to talk about is the situation that has a lot of Lions fans feeling nervous right now, and that is the center position. Free agency officially started on Monday, and for a moment it really felt like Detroit was running out of options at center. Several of the names that fans were watching started disappearing very quickly. Tyler Linderbaum was one of the dream scenarios, but realistically he looks completely unattainable for Detroit, and probably for most teams in the league. Then another name came off the board when Tyler Biadasz signed with the Los Angeles Chargers. Right after that, Connor McGovern decided to stay in Buffalo. So naturally, Lions fans started looking around and thinking, okay, who is actually left? At first glance, it felt like the options were drying up. But when you start looking deeper, there are still some solid centers available who could realistically step in and start for Detroit. There are four names that make a lot of sense for this team. The first one, and maybe the most interesting option right now, is Hjalte Froholdt. If you have been paying attention to the Lions coaching changes, this name actually makes a lot of sense. Froholdt has years of experience working with the Lions' new offensive coordinator Drew Petzing from their time together in Arizona. That familiarity matters. He is a center who can pass block well, he can run block, and stylistically he fits the type of offensive line Detroit likes. Tough, physical, and reliable in the middle. From a football standpoint, he checks a lot of boxes. The big question is whether the Arizona Cardinals would actually be willing to move him. If they are not open to a trade, that option could disappear quickly. The second name is Cade Mays, and this one is interesting because he is the youngest option in the group. He is 26 years old, and over the last 2 seasons with the Carolina Panthers, he has actually played very well. One stat that really stands out is that he has not allowed a sack since 2023. That is pretty impressive for a center. His pass protection has been strong, which is something every Lions fan cares about when you are trying to keep Jared Goff comfortable in the pocket. But there is still a bit of a question mark with Mays. In 2025, he became the starter for Carolina, but he was not originally supposed to start. He stepped in after Austin Corbett got hurt, so teams have to ask an important question. Are you getting a true starting center for the future? Or are you getting a player who stepped in and possibly overachieved during that moment? It is a fair question, but the upside is definitely there. The third option is a name Lions fans know very well, Elgton Jenkins. Detroit has faced Jenkins many times while he was with the Green Bay Packers over the last 7 seasons. He has always been one of those linemen you hate playing against because he is simply reliable. He is extremely versatile. He has played both guard and center during his time in Green Bay, and last season he played center. During that stretch, he allowed 10 pressures and 2 sacks, which is a respectable number considering the level of competition in the NFC North. He would absolutely be a strong addition to the Lions' offensive line. However, there is one concern, and that is the injury. Jenkins fractured his leg in November. The good news is that he has already returned to training, and the expectation is that he should be ready by training camp. Still, anytime you are dealing with a serious injury like that, teams will evaluate it carefully. But if he is healthy, Jenkins could be a major upgrade in the middle of this line. The fourth option might sound very familiar to Lions fans, and that is Evan Brown. This one could actually be a sneaky good fit. Brown already played in Detroit in 2022 when he was the backup to Frank Ragnow. During that time, he performed well enough that he eventually earned starting opportunities with other teams. He also has experience working with Drew Petzing, which again connects him to what the Lions are building offensively. One concern is that he has not played center since 2023. While he was with the Cardinals, he played guard because Froholdt was the preferred center there. However, the important detail is that Brown has played center before, and he has proven he can do it well. If Detroit brought him back, he could easily return to that position. The bottom line is simple. Even though some big names are already off the market, the Lions still have real options at center. Whether it is a trade for Hjalte Froholt, a young upside player like Cade Mays, a proven veteran like Elgton Jenkins, or a familiar face like Evan Brown, Detroit still has multiple paths to solve this issue. So Lions fans should not panic just yet. Now let's talk about the second big story, because free agency has already been very busy for Detroit, and several moves just happened. Day 2 of NFL free agency 2026 moved quickly, and the Lions made several headlines on Tuesday. The biggest move that caught people's attention was the Lions agreeing to a one-year contract with running back Isaiah Pacheco. This is a very interesting move. Pacheco has been an important part of the Kansas City Chiefs offense since his rookie year in 2022. At his best, he is an explosive runner who brings a lot of energy to the backfield. In 2023, he produced 1,179 yards from scrimmage, which shows the kind of impact he can have when healthy. The concern is injuries. Over the past 2 seasons, his production has been limited because he missed time. Since the start of the 2024 season, he has played only 20 regular season games combined, so durability is something the Lions will definitely monitor. The reason this signing makes sense is because Detroit needed a backup running back. After the David Montgomery trade, the Lions suddenly had Jahmyr Gibbs without a clear partner in the backfield. Pacheco now fills that role. If he stays healthy, he gives Detroit a physical and aggressive runner who can take pressure off Gibbs and keep the offense balanced. But that was not the only move the Lions made. Detroit also re-signed linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez to a 1-year deal. Rodriguez is entering his 4th season with the team, and Lions fans remember how impactful he was as a rookie in 2022. That season, he started 15 games and finished 3rd on the team with 87 total tackles. Last season was different. He was working his way back from an ACL tear, which limited him to 7 games and 1 start in 2025. But the Lions clearly still believe in him. There is also another reason this move is interesting. He could potentially become a replacement for Alex Anzalone depending on how the linebacker situation develops. Detroit also brought back cornerback Rock Ya-Sin on a 1-year $4 million deal. This was an important move for depth. Ya-Sin played a key role in a secondary that dealt with several injuries in 2025. He appeared in all 17 games and started 6 of them, stepping up whenever the team needed him. Keeping players like that matters when a team is trying to make a deep playoff run. Finally, the Lions also re-signed quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. This move fills a specific need. Detroit needed a backup quarterback after Kyle Allen left and signed with the Buffalo Bills in free agency. Bridgewater already has experience with the Lions after being with the team in 2023 and 2024. Bringing him back gives the team a veteran presence behind Jared Goff. It might not be a headline move, but it stabilizes the quarterback room. When you step back and look at everything happening, you can see what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are trying to do. Free agency has already been busy. Detroit added offensive line help earlier in the week, but they also lost 4 unrestricted free agents and officially released their 10-year starting left tackle. So this roster is definitely going through adjustments. But these moves show the front office is trying to reload the roster, not tear it down. They are adding depth. They are bringing back players who understand the system. And they are trying to keep this team competitive while the Super Bowl window is still open. Because that is the reality now. The expectations around the Detroit Lions are completely different from what they were a few years ago. This is a team that believes it can compete for a championship. Every move, whether it is signing Isaiah Pacheco, bringing back Malcolm Rodriguez, Rock Ya-Sin, and Teddy Bridgewater, or solving the center situation, is about keeping this roster strong enough to make another deep playoff run. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these center options would you want the Lions to go after? And what do you think about the Isaiah Pacheco signing? Leave your thoughts in the comments because I always like hearing what other Lions fans think. And if you enjoyed the video, do not forget to leave a like and subscribe. The channel Lions Nation Report is brand new, and we are trying to reach our first 2,000 subscribers. So if you are a real Detroit Lions fan and you want to stay on top of everything happening with this team, make sure you are part of the community. And as always, go Lions!